Most people who go to sleep tonight will do the exact same thing they did last night. They'll turn off the light, close their eyes, and wake up tomorrow believing they took good care of their vision. Except there was one simple habit, something that could have helped support their eye health during those hours of sleep. That just didn't happen. Not because it's expensive, not because it's complicated, but because there's a tremendous amount of confusion out there about what actually contributes to healthy vision. I'm a physician, and in nearly 20 years of clinical practice, I've watched firsthand what health misinformation does to people when it comes to their eyes. I've had patients who spent decades believing in myths, making the wrong choices, and showing up to my office with diagnoses that could have been delayed by years. That genuinely concerns me. And that's exactly why I'm here today. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to share which fruits have real scientific support for helping protect your vision before bed. I'm going to address 3 myths that most people have been carrying since childhood, and the third one may genuinely surprise you, because you've probably heard it presented as fact your entire life. Before we get into the myths, I want to be straightforward with you about something. The title of this video talks about fruits for healthy vision, and I need to explain that carefully. No fruit is going to correct a refractive error, reverse an existing cataract, or replace your eye doctor. What the science increasingly shows is that certain nutrients found in specific fruits, when consumed regularly and at the right time, may help protect the internal structure of the eye against the oxidative damage that accumulates over time. That's real, evidence-based prevention. It's not a miracle. And anytime you're considering changes to your diet, especially if you have a diagnosed eye condition, please talk with your doctor first. That always applies. All right, let's get into the first myth. Most people believe that carrots are the single most important food for your eyes. We heard it growing up. My mom said it. Yours probably did too. And you know what? I want to tell you exactly where that idea came from. World War II. In 1941, the British Ministry of Food launched a campaign promoting carrot consumption, and at the same time to conceal from the Germans that the Royal Air Force had developed a cutting-edge radar system. British pilots were shooting down enemy aircraft in complete darkness with remarkable accuracy, and the government needed an explanation that wouldn't reveal the technology. The official story became, they eat a lot of carrots, and from that wartime propaganda effort, a myth was born that has persisted to this day. Carrots are a genuinely nutritious food. They're rich in beta-carotene, which the body can convert into vitamin A. And vitamin A is associated with the production of rhodopsin, the pigment inside the eye that supports vision in low-light conditions. Here's the thing. If someone has a vitamin A deficiency, adding carrots to their diet may help restore some of that affected night vision. That has real scientific grounding. The issue is that if you're already eating a reasonably balanced diet, eating more carrots is unlikely to push your vision beyond its normal range. And consuming very large amounts over time can actually give the skin a yellowish-orange tint, a harmless but noticeable condition called carotenemia. The reality is that dozens of foods deliver beta-carotene just as effectively as carrots, and many also offer additional nutrients that carrots don't provide at the same concentration. Papaya, mango, butternut squash, sweet potato, kale, all of them contribute. That's the context in which a patient I'll call Doris came to see me. 63 years old, retired, a grandmother of 5, and a passionate home cook from Asheville, North Carolina. She came in holding imaging results showing early signs of macular degeneration and said, "Doctor, I've eaten carrots every single day for 40 years. How did this happen?" That's exactly the point. Carrots alone are not enough. Vision health is supported by a whole range of nutrients, and carrots cover only a small portion of that picture. When we reviewed her diet carefully, we found an almost total absence of 2 carotenoids that are among the most important allies of the retina, lutein and zeaxanthin. And this is where the conversation becomes really significant. But before we go further, I want to ask you something. If this content is helping you better understand your eye health, please hit the like button right now. That small gesture helps this video reach more people who could benefit from this information. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that now and turn on the bell notification. Leave a comment telling me what city or state you're watching from. I genuinely enjoy knowing where this community is growing. Now let's talk about the second myth. And this one tends to land especially hard for people over 50. Most people believe that vitamin A is essentially all the eyes need. Rhodopsin, night vision, carrots, vitamin A. That's the mental framework most people carry when the topic of nutrition for eye health comes up. And the science has shifted that picture considerably. The 2 compounds most associated with retinal health are not vitamins at all. They're carotenoid pigments called lutein and zeaxanthin, and they work in a way that very few people are aware of. Think of it this way. Inside your eye, there's a central zone called the macula, which is responsible for sharp, detailed vision. Everything you perceive with clarity, a line of text, a face, the expression of someone you care about, passes through the macula. In that region, there's a layer of pigment that functions somewhat like a built-in pair of sunglasses, absorbing a portion of the blue light that arrives from screens, LED lighting, and sunlight before it can cause direct damage to the cells of the retina. That macular pigment is composed almost entirely of lutein and zeaxanthin. And here's the detail that changes everything. The human body does not produce these two compounds on its own. Not a single milligram. Zero. You can only obtain them through diet, or when appropriate, through supplementation. A systematic review published in the journal Advances in Nutrition, analyzing 46 studies involving more than 3,000 participants, found that daily intake of lutein and zeaxanthin at 10 milligrams or more was associated with a significant increase in macular pigment density in healthy adults. To put that in practical terms, the denser that pigment layer, the more support your retina may have against daily oxidative wear. And initial signs of that protection tend to be observed between 3 and 6 months of consistent intake. Yet most people consume well under half of that through their everyday diet. According to data compiled across multiple nutritional studies, the average daily intake of lutein and zeaxanthin in Western diets falls somewhere between 1 and 2 milligrams per day. We're looking at a target of 10. That gap is significant. You know which fruit stands out most in this context, particularly when consumed in the evening? Papaya. And alongside it, kiwi, mango, and blueberries. Each one for different reasons, which I'll walk you through now. Papaya, the kind you can find at most grocery stores and farmers markets across the country, is a surprisingly complete source of lutein, zeaxanthin, and beta-carotene all at once. It's one of the few foods that can deliver all three of those compounds at a meaningful concentration in a single serving. Half a papaya over the course of the day already represents a real contribution to macular pigment, and the evening window has a specific advantage. During sleep, the body carries out intensive cellular regeneration processes, and having these antioxidants available in the bloodstream during that period may help amplify their protective effect on the cells of the retina. Something along those lines occurred with a patient I'll call Harold, 68 years old, a retired accountant from Birmingham, Alabama. A methodical man who reads the print newspaper every morning and carries a very real fear of losing his vision because his father lost most of his sight in old age. He came in with macular pigment density lower than expected for his age. When we reviewed his diet, the pattern was clear. Almost no fruit, a heavy emphasis on protein, very few colorful vegetables. We introduced papaya at dinner, kiwi before bed, and mango as an afternoon snack. 6 months later, his follow-up exam showed measurable improvement. He came back to the office and told me, "Doc, I woke up different this week. I actually read the street sign before I put my glasses on." I can't attribute that to a single change, since other adjustments were made as well. But he was right that something had shifted in a positive direction. And speaking of things that seem harmless but may not be, let's talk about the third myth, the one I hear most frequently in my practice. Most people believe that screen time before bed doesn't do anything to the eyes beyond making them temporarily tired. Think about that assumption carefully. The common understanding is that screen-related eye strain is short-lived, that sleep takes care of it, and that everything is back to normal by morning. The science suggests a more nuanced and concerning picture. The blue light emitted by phones, tablets, and televisions doesn't only affect the surface of the eye. It penetrates the inner layers and can reach the retina, where it may trigger oxidative stress in the photoreceptor cells. These are the cells responsible for capturing light and converting it into the electrical signals the brain interprets as images. When those cells are consistently exposed to high-energy blue light without adequate protection, the damage may be cumulative. It doesn't hurt. You can't see it in the mirror, but it can accumulate year after year, potentially contributing to the gradual aging of the retina. The study titled, "The Photobiology of Lutein and Zeaxanthin in the Eye," found that lutein and zeaxanthin may act as biological filters for that blue light before it reaches the photoreceptor cells. They don't eliminate blue light entirely, but they may significantly reduce the oxidative load that retinal cells have to manage. And here's the connection that very few people make. Consuming fruits rich in these compounds during the evening, particularly 2 to 3 hours before bed, may help ensure that those pigments are actively circulating right when the eye enters its recovery phase. Sleep is the body's maintenance window, and having the right nutrients available during that window may make a meaningful difference. Kiwi stands out here in a particularly interesting way. A study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition, conducted by Taipei Medical University, found that consuming 2 kiwis approximately 1 hour before bed was associated with significant improvements in sleep quality and duration. And restful sleep has a direct relationship with eye health, because it's during deep sleep that the eyes carry out processes of repair and regeneration that don't occur fully when rest is fragmented or insufficient. Beyond that, kiwi contains lutein, a notably high concentration of vitamin C, and additional antioxidants that contribute to the overall protective picture. Blueberries, still underutilized by many American households relative to their nutritional value, are another ally worth knowing about. They're rich in anthocyanins, phenolic compounds that may help protect the blood vessels of the retina and support the regeneration of rhodopsin, the night vision pigment. Studies published in ophthalmology journals found that participants with early macular degeneration who consumed zeaxanthin daily showed measurable improvement in visual acuity over the course of a year. Each fruit has its role, and when they're combined consistently in the diet, their effects may reinforce one another. So let me bring together what we covered today. The first myth addressed: carrots are the most important food for your eyes. They're a solid nutritional choice, yes, but they cover only a small part of eye protection. The compounds most associated with retinal health are lutein and zeaxanthin, and carrots provide relatively little of either compared to papaya, mango, kiwi, and blueberries. The second myth addressed: vitamin A is sufficient to protect the eyes. It's an important nutrient, but it's not the complete picture. The macula, the center of your high-resolution vision, depends on dense macular pigment, and that pigment is formed primarily through lutein and zeaxanthin. Without those 2 compounds consistently in your diet, the retina's natural internal filter may not be operating at its best. The third myth addressed: screen-related eye strain resolves fully with sleep. It may not, particularly when the retina lacks sufficient antioxidant support. Blue light exposure may cause cumulative, silent damage over time. And that's exactly the kind of gradual process that a thoughtful, consistent diet may help address. What can you do starting today? A generous serving of papaya after dinner, 2 kiwis about an hour before bed, mango as an afternoon snack, blueberries whenever you can find them, fresh or frozen, in yogurt or a light smoothie before sleep. And if your exams have already shown early signs of macular degeneration or reduced macular pigment, talk with your eye doctor about whether targeted supplementation might be appropriate, since diet alone may not be sufficient in those cases. What weighs on me most as a physician isn't when a patient arrives with a serious eye diagnosis. It's when they say, "Doc, I thought vision problems were just genetics, or bad luck, or part of getting older. Nobody ever told me there was something I could do." And it's for those people that this video exists. Your eyes are the window through which you experience everything that matters. Your children's faces, the sunset over your neighborhood, the text message that makes you smile. They work without stopping, from the moment you open them in the morning to the instant you close them at night. And in that instant, when you turn off the light, what you chose to eat in the hours before is already inside your body, either contributing to the health of those eyes or falling short of it. Share this video with that family member who spends hours on a screen before bed, that son or daughter who rarely eats fruit, that friend who's always mentioning that their eyes give out too quickly. One piece of information like this can shift a habit, and a habit, sustained over time, can shape so much more than we realize. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 silent signals your eyes may send when macular degeneration is beginning, before it even appears on a routine exam. Signals that most people dismiss for years, mistaking them for ordinary tiredness. You won't want to miss it. Take care of your eyes. They're the only ones you have.